Alright everyone, this is Zero Budget Geek and welcome to Castle Assault. Today I'm going to be playing a solo version of this game. Normally you would play with two players, but there are single player rules. Now the single player rules play exactly like a two-player game for the player. So you're going to be selecting a deck and playing as normal. If you don't know the rules to this game, I suggest you look in the upper right hand corner. There'll be a link to the previous video that is the overview of the game and shows you all the rules. So the player plays by the regular rules. However, there'll be a monster player or a artificial intelligence player that will be doing their own moves on their own turn. So for solo play, the game comes with a single player campaign. We're going to be playing scenario 1, which is called a just offensive, and it tells you what your victory conditions is. So we must destroy the monster castle, and our loss condition is if our castle gets destroyed. Now we use this chart helps us move through the game. So this chart will tell us that at the start of the game, the enemy will have one card in play, which will be a mercenary, and it tells us where we'll place it. So it's going to be in the center location, and then we're going to be tracking the turns thereafter. At the end of each of the monster turns, it's going to put another card into play, and then this chart will also tell us where that card will be played. So here's the initial setup of the board. I'm trying to give you a first person view of the board, but it is so large that it's hard to get the whole thing in. But right now there's really nothing on the board. We have our momentum meter here. It is at start right now, so it's basically zeroed out. Here is the health of my castle, which is 10. Here's the health of the opponent's castle, which is also 10. And then over here, we're going to be counting the turns. Right now, it's on start. And then when the enemy takes the first turn, we'll move it up there. Now, in a single player game, the player always takes the first turn. For this game, I decided to choose the undead as my faction because I happen to like the undead and I like their ability in this game. Some of their units have the ability to resurrect. That is, after they die, they are actually able to come back to life, which I think could be really useful in here because the game plays kind of like a tower defense. And then I chose a hero card here, which is Sharon, which she looks necromantic, so I believe that's, she's meant to be the leader of these. And I probably won't be using this at all in the game because pretty much the only effect of the hero is to be able to transform him into a unit and put him into the battlefield. But if that hero dies, then you lose the game. So you usually don't want to do that unless it's a last-ditch effort. Alright, now I've shuffled my deck and have drawn my opening hand of 5 cards. I got a couple of cards that cost 3, cost 2, and a cost 1. So we have some things we can do. Okay, so our enemy has started off with a card in the center space of their castle. It is a mercenary. It has a movement of 2, an attack of 2, a defense of 0, and a life of 1. Its special action is it must take an action to charge. So that's all it's going to do on its turn. It's going to just keep charging at us. Okay, so I'm taking the first turn. The first thing that I got to do on my turn is I need to roll for momentum. So I'm going to take the momentum die and roll it. I rolled great, a 6. So that is going to go all the way to my side, to the max side. So if I can charge this turn, I will get +1 on my attacks, but I'm not going to be able to charge this turn. Next, I would ready any exhausted resources that I had, and then I draw a card. And then if I had any minions on the field, any units on the field, they would now move. Now we go into my open phase. Okay, so I'm going to choose one of my cards to play as a resource. I have a bunch of cards that cost 3 here. I'm not going to play them anytime soon. So I'm going to take this gas here. So I don't plan on playing that anytime soon. I'm going to play it face down as a resource. Now, for the rest of the game, that's all it's going to be is a 1 resource. I can't flip it back over for any other reason. And then I'm going to exhaust that resource to take this Gravedigger, who's a 1 movement, 1 attack, and 1 health guy. He also makes adjacent friendly units get more attack. I'm going to play him because he only costs 1 resource. I'm going to play him to the battlefield. Now, I said battlefield, but I actually meant my castle area because there's a distinction between castle area and battlefield. All cards, when you play them, they go to your castle area first. So I'm going to play him in my center castle area. That way, at some point, he'll encounter that mercenary that's going to be coming our way. Alright, there's nothing else I can do on my turn, so we're going to go to the monster's turn, and we'll mark this to show that it's their turn 1. So a monster turn works very similar to a player's turn, except we skip certain things. So the monster will roll for momentum, so let's roll that up now. 2, so that moves it 2 spaces in its direction, which wasn't much. And then it doesn't have any resources to ready. It doesn't have any cards to draw. Right now there are no start of turn effects. Sometimes there will be. Now it must move units. So any units it has on the board will move. This mercenary has a movement of 2, so it's going to move 2 spaces this way. And now for its open phase, basically every unit will take an action. So this mercenary only has takes a charge as an action, so we're going to do that. So we roll the 6-sided die, and we only rolled a 1. So he charges 1 space forward. Then we go into the end phase of the monster's turn. This is when we gotta consult the chart. So at the end of turn 1, he's gonna get another mercenary card, and it's gonna be in the left slot. Alright, so here we go. We put a mercenary in the left-hand castle slot. Alright, so that's it for the monster's turn. We're gonna go ahead and grab the die. It's back to my turn. We're gonna roll the momentum. And I have rolled a 4, so the momentum swings all the way back in my favor, which is awesome. Next, I will ready my resources. I draw a card. Check to see if there's any start of turn effects. There aren't. Now I must move my units. I only have 1 unit in play right now, which is this Gravedigger, and he has a movement of 1, so he must move forward 1 space. Okay, so I'm going to take one of my cards here. I think I'm going to take the Spirit Finder guy here. He's not going to really help us right now, so I'm going to play him as a resource. Now I have 2 resources to spend. I'm going to spend both of those 2 resources to play this Doom of the Grave because he costs 2. Let's put him in my castle. Alright, I'm going to place him in the left of my castle because there's a mercenary going to be coming down on the left side. Now, because I just played this guy, I cannot take an action with him. Let's see if I can take an action with the other one. He doesn't have his own action, and otherwise I could charge, but he does say on him, says cannot charge. So, pretty much I have no actions with these units at this point. Okay, so that's the end of my turn. We'll go to turn 2 for the monsters. Let's go ahead and roll momentum for the monsters. And they get a 3, so 1, 2, 3. They still do not have a momentum bonus. Now the monsters units are all going to move, starting with the one that's most forward. So it has a movement of 2. He moves 2, and the other one up here also moves 2 spaces. Now each unit in play can act. Well, the only action that the mercenaries take is a charge, so this guy's gonna go ahead and roll a die for his charge. He rolls only a 1, so he does not get to engage with my Gravedigger there. Well, that's kind of good for me, I guess. Now this mercenary up here, the second one, is gonna charge. He rolls only a 2, man. 1, 2. So they're bad at charging. Alright, at the end of turn 2, the monsters get an elite mercenary into play. He has a movement of 4, attack of 4, defense of 0, and a health of 3. And it's going to place it in the column where I have a unit closest to the enemy castle. Well, my closest unit to them is the Gravedigger, so it's going to be in the center row. Alright, so we'll place that guy there, and he'll start moving next turn. Alright, it's back to my turn. Got to roll for my momentum. I gotta start using this. I rolled a 3, so 1, 2, 3. That's all the way max on my side again. Alright, so we'll ready our resources and draw a card. And now we need to move units. Alright, so when moving units, you have to move whichever unit is furthest ahead must move first. So that means this Gravedigger is gonna move. He has a movement of 1, so he's gonna move this way. Now, he just went face to face, so he's engaged with an enemy now. Now, we're still supposed to move this guy over here, but because these guys are now engaged, we have to resolve the combat. Combat always happens immediately and simultaneously. So let's get a closer look at this combat. Alright, so they're going to deal damage to each other simultaneously. Our Gravedigger has an attack of 1, so he attacks him with 1. He has a 0 defense, so he takes 1 damage, but he only has 1 health. So he's going to die, but before he dies, he's going to attack with 2. The Gravedigger has a 0 defense, so he's going to take 2 damage. He only has a health of 1, so they're both going to die. So my unit is going to go into my discard pile, but my unit did kill an enemy unit. So whenever one of your units kills an opposing unit, enemy unit on the battlefield, you will get to draw a card. So I'll get to draw one card. Oh, I drew an armored dead. Those guys are good. All right, we're still in the technically in the move units phase. So our Doom of the Grave guy here is going to move his movement, which is 1. Okay, before I play any cards or anything, I'm going to try something. There's a chance that I might be able to charge with my Doom of the Grave into this Mercenary. And if so, I will be able to kill it and draw a card. So I'd rather draw a card before I decide on what I'm going to play. So let's go ahead and do a charge, because that's the only thing this Doom of the Grave would be doing anyway. So we're going to roll. And I rolled a 6. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, and he has more movement, but he is stopped there. So let's look closer at this combat, especially because we have a high move bonus and we have a momentum bonus. Okay, so since I rolled more than what I needed, I have what's called a smash bonus for just basically moving at high speed. So I have +1 attack for that. And because the momentum is in my favor, I have another +1 attack. So I have +2 to my attack. So that means my attack of 2 now becomes a 4, which is more than enough to kill him because he only has 1 health and no defense. However, his 2 attack is enough to kill me because I have no defense and only 1 health. So they annihilate each other, but I do get to draw a card for that. Okay, so the card goes in my discard pile, but I do get to draw a card for defeating the enemy. And oh, I got a Charnel Wraith, but it costs 4 to play. Okay, so for my turn, I'm going to take one of these 3-cost guys, this amalgamation. I'm going to play it as a resource. I have 3 resources because I want to start getting these armored dead. The reason I want to get them is because they have a 2 defense, which blocks the 2 attack of those mercenaries, and his 3 attack is pretty high to kill most things and has a 4 health. So these guys are really useful against those mercenaries, but I'm not going to play one yet because we have that elite mercenary coming. I'm actually only going to spend 1 resource to put a shambling zombie into play. Okay, so I'm putting the shambling zombie in my center area. The reason I'm doing it, he has a 4 attack, no defense, and 1 health, and he cannot charge. But I'm doing it defensive because the elite mercenary, let's bring him over here for a quick moment. He has 4 attack but no defense and 3 health. So they'll be able to kill each other, and paying only 1 resource just to kill elite mercenary seems good. So that's why I'm putting him in the center, because the elite mercenary has a good chance of coming at us next turn because he has a 4 movement plus a charge. Okay, I'm done with my turn, so we'll go to turn 3 for the monsters. Okay, let's roll momentum for them. Rolled a 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not enough to get their charge bonus. Alright, all enemy units on the field will move. He has a movement of 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so he is going to charge at me for his action, so let's roll. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. He needs at least a 4 to reach me, so let's see if he gets it. Oh my god, a 1. So he just charges 1 space. Okay, at the end of turn 3, the monsters get another mercenary and they place it to whichever lane is I have a unit closest to them, which is the center. So he puts them in the center there. Alright, back to my turn. I'm going to go ahead and roll momentum. I roll a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not quite max on my side, but I still get a +1 on charges. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ready resources. Draw a card. And we must move units. Alright, my shambling zombies only have a movement of 1, so they'll just go right up there. Okay, this ghast here, while nice, I'm going to play it as a resource. I have 4 resources. I could play this Charnel Wraith, which is actually really nice. He has an attack of 5 and a health of 3 and a movement of 3. And when he charges, he gets +3 movement. And he has gaseous form, so he can go through friendly units. Normally, your unit can't advance if there's a unit directly in front of him, but he can go through them. But I'd rather use this a little bit later when I can charge straight to the enemy's castle. So instead, I'm going to spend 3 resources to put an armored dead out, because like as I mentioned, they're good against those mercenaries. I'm going to place this armored dead in the center behind my shambling zombies, because eventually the elite mercenary and the zombies are going to run into each other and kill each other. And behind that elite mercenary, we have a regular mercenary, which my armored dead will be able to crush very easily. Now, I do have 1 resource left over that I don't really have anything to do. If I do have one little thing I can do it, I'm going to spend it. You can spend a resource to move the momentum meter 2 spaces in any direction that you wish. So I'm going to go ahead and move it just to my side to max to make it a little bit harder for the enemy to gain momentum. Alright, it's now the monster's turn 4. Let's roll for the monster's momentum. And it is just a pitiful 2. Alright, now the monster's on the battlefield move. Well, as we suspected, this elite mercenary, he has a movement of 4, so he's going to go 1, 2, and he immediately engages with my zombies. He's going to do 4 damage. My zombies block 0, so they will die because they only have 1 health. But my shambling zombies do 4. In return, he has a 3 health, so they kill each other, which will let me draw a card. I drew a living death. We'll take a look at that in a bit. The monsters also have some mercenaries in the center here, so they're also going to move 2 spaces. Okay, that mercenary is going to use its action to charge. We'll roll a d6, see how far he goes. Rolled a 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Close to my castle, but not close enough to fight. Alright, at the end of turn 4, the enemies will get another elite mercenary, and they'll place it in the slot where I have the closest unit, which is the center, so it's a battle for the center lane here. Okay, back to my turn. Let's go ahead and roll for momentum. I rolled a 2. That puts it back to max for me. Doing good on the momentum, just haven't really been able to use it. Okay, so we go ahead and reset resources. We're at 4. We draw a card, another Gravedigger. Oh, I did say we'd look at the Living Death, right? The Living Death, he's only got 1 movement. He's got 5 attack, 1 defense, and 4 health. And he has resurrection. So when this ally is destroyed, if it does not have a soul token on it, put it back into play in the same or adjacent space with a soul token on it. So he can come back to life 1 time. Okay, I have to move my units. I only have 1. He has a movement of 1, so he'll just stumble forward 1 space. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and actually have this unit go ahead and act right now. I'm going to have him charge. I need at least 1, so it doesn't really matter what I roll. I rolled a 4, so that's more than what I needed, so I get a +1 on my attack plus my momentum, so +2 to my attack. So my attack is a 5 right now, charging forward. So I hit this guy with 5. He only has 1 health, so he's gonna die. He attacks back with an attack of 2, but my defensive 2 blocks it completely, so my armored dead completely kills that mercenary with no damage. And I get to draw a card. I draw, ooh, my Lord Batwar. We'll take a closer look at him in a little bit, but that's actually a very good card. So I just drew something called a Lord here. Now, you can only have 1 Lord in play at a time. It doesn't matter if they're different Lords. You can only have 1 Lord in play at a time. So this guy is Lord Balchosin. He has a movement of 2, an attack of 4, defensive 0, and he only has a health of 1. However, he has control. He has +3 movement while he's charging. He has gaseous form, which means he can go through friendly units, and he has resurrection. Now, these guys with resurrection, I want to play them, but I'm going to hold off a little bit because we have a card in our deck called the Lich that will allow these guys to be able to come back from death 1 additional time. So I might hold off on playing these guys until I draw that. So for my turn, I think I'm going to go ahead and take this Gravedigger here because he's kind of small and not really useful. I'm going to play him as a resource, and now we have 5 resources. We pretty much probably don't even need to be playing any more resources. So I'm going to spend 3 resources to place another armored dead onto the field. And just for the heck of it, we're going to go ahead and put it in the right field over here. Alright, so that's the end of my turn. We'll move to turn 5 of the enemy. Okay, the enemy's going to go ahead and roll momentum. Just a 2. Enemy units are going to move. So this guy has a move of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he's going to go ahead and charge. So roll that. Oh my god, I can't believe that. A 1. So he just barely missed ramming into my armored dead. Kind of doesn't matter. They're probably gonna meet on the next turn anyway. All right, at the end of turn 5, the enemy gets another regular mercenary, but it's gonna put it in a random spot. So we're gonna roll a 6-sided die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I roll a 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, battle for the center lane. Okay, my turn. I roll momentum. I roll a 6. I'm telling you, this is not rigged that I'm rolling really high for myself and bad for the monsters, but it's just how it's working out. Okay, we reset our resources. I have 5. We draw a card, another living death. And now we got to move our units. Alright, so our furthermost unit will move first armor dead. He moves 1 space. That puts him in engagement with the elite mercenary. So he's going to do 3 damage to the elite mercenary. Defense of 0, but it has a health of 3. So it's going to die, but it does an attack of 4 back to my armor dead. My armor dead blocks 2 of it, so it's going to take 2 damage. It has a health of 4, so it has now 2 health. So it actually survived, which is really nice. And this elite mercenary is dead, which means I get to draw a card. I drew some skeletons. Alright. Alright, I did have another unit in play, which was this other armor dead, so he moves 1 space. Alright, before I decide what I'm going to play from my hand, I think I'm going to have my guys on the field charge because my armor dead can charge. So we're going to have the first one over here, the furthermost one. He's going to, I only rolled a 3, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3. That's, you know, at least closer. And I'm going to have my second armor dead over here go ahead and charge as well. This time I rolled a 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's how they've ended up, which is pretty cool. That mercenary is going to get crushed by my armor dead, so I feel like we have a good setup right now. Okay, this time I'm going to go ahead and spend 4 of my 5 resources. I'm going to put this charnel wraith into play. I'm going to go ahead and place him over here onto the left hand side because he has a movement of 3. He has +3 while charging, so there's a good chance I can get him all the way to my opponent's castle in 1 turn. And the enemy's probably going to be busy with those armored dead over there, so I may get a straight shot right at their castle. Okay, I'm done with my turn, and it's on to the monster's 6th turn. Okay, we'll roll momentum for the monsters. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not quite enough to get their charge bonus. Okay, monsters in play will move. He has a movement of 2. 1, 2. That puts him in combat with this armored dead. So he will attack with 2. My guy has a defense of 2, so he blocks it. I attack with a 3. He's got no defense, so he dies. And I draw a card. I drew a ghost. Alright, at the end of turn 6, the monsters get an elite mercenary into play. They'll place it in the spot where the nearest enemy to them is, which is over here. So into the rightmost spot, they get an elite mercenary. Okay, back to my turn. I'll go ahead and roll the momentum die. And I roll a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just enough for me to be able to get a charge bonus, which is nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and reset our resources. Again, we're at 5. And we get to draw a card. There is the card I was talking about, the Lich. It has 0 movement, 2 attack, 0 defense, and 2 health. But that's not what's important. What's important is it has Omni Necro. When a friendly ally with 1 soul token on it is destroyed, return it from your discard pile and put a 2nd soul token on it. That is very useful. So we're going to be trying to get him into play as soon as we can. Alright, so we need to move units, starting with the one furthest ahead, which is my armored dead. He has a move of 1. He goes here, puts him engagement with that elite mercenary. So he does 3 damage to the elite mercenary. The elite mercenary only has 3 life, so he's going to die. He's going to do 4 damage back, but I blocked 2 of it. So I take 2 damage, so my armored dead survives with 2 health there. But the elite mercenary is defeated, and I get to draw a card, which is a necromancer. Not a great card, it's okay. My other armored dead will also move 1 space up. And now my charnel wraith is going to move. He has a movement of 3. So 1, 2, 3. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and attack or act with my guys on the board first before I play any cards. So since my armored dead is up against the enemy's castle over here, you can never go into their castle. You just attack when you're adjacent. So he can take an attack action since he's adjacent to it and attack with his attack of 3. So it goes down from 10. 1, 2, 3. So the enemy is now down to 7. I'm going to act with my other armored dead. I'm going to charge because he can. And this is going to be really good. If I roll anything above a 1, I rolled a 3. So That means I only have to move one space there. Since I rolled higher than what I need to, I get the smash bonus, and momentum is my favor, so I have +2 to my attack. So I have 3, 4, 5. So he takes another 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The enemy is now down at 2. Let's see if my Charnel Wraith can finish it off. Okay, so we need a little bit of luck here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to roll, well, I need a total of 6 or better, so I need a 3 or better. He gets +3 to his movement while charging, so let's see what I get here. And I rolled a 3, so 3 plus 3 is 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means he does get the hit in now, which is 5 plus the smash bonus plus the momentum, so I hit for 7. Well, 7 is way more than I needed because the enemy was only at 2. So I have destroyed their castle and won the game. So there you have it. That's Castle Assault. I really suggest you try this game out for yourself because I was using the Undead faction, but there are many other factions and they all have their own mechanics and they play very differently from each other. So there's definitely a lot of variety in this box. You have a full single player campaign that you can play through, as well as the, as playing 2-player with your friends. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did like it, be sure to give me a like down at the bottom, and be sure to check in the upper right hand corner to see the link to other videos that I've done, and better yet, subscribe and stay up to date with all my latest videos. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.